In the realm of sound, there are microphones, and then there are legends. Neumann TLM-103, Neumann U87 Ai. They're not just microphones, they're a journey into the heart of sonic perfection. Throughout the electric age, these titans have been the silent companions of countless music legends, capturing every emotion, every nuance. The TLM-103, renowned for its pristine sound clarity, capturing the voice in its most authentic form. And the U87 Ai, a legacy, an institution. Its unmistakable character and versatility made it a cornerstone in studios worldwide. These microphones, crafted with German precision, represent the pinnacle of technological marvel and craftsmanship. When the voice of a generation needed to be heard, when the soul longed to be unveiled, these were the instruments of choice. They are more than just mics. They are timeless companions, the trusted confidants. They are the microphones of gods. Neumann, the sound of legends.
I had the opportunity to finally test out these legendary mics for a short while. And I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty disappointed. I expected to be blown away, and I am. In small moments when one captures a specific rumble or attenuation that I know my other mics usually wouldn't. But both the U87 Ai and the TLM-103 just kind of sound boring. But I know that's the point. These are some of the most transparent and realistic sounding microphones that you can get for voiceover. I think what frustrated me the most, though, is that I couldn't figure out which one I preferred. The TLM-103 sounds nicest upon first glance. It's brighter and maybe a bit punchier sounding out of the box. But eventually, as I listen to these samples, back to back to back, way too many times, ear fatigue is real, the 103 feels harsher. The U87 has that classic vintage roll-off and smoothness to it that I talked about with the tube microphones. But it has that mid-range kind of boost that does not favor my voice very well and almost sounds maybe a bit muddier as a result on my voice. I want a fusion of these microphones. Honestly, this kind of confirms my preference for the LEWITT tube mics, as I can configure them to favor my voice a bit more easily. And I'm talking about out-of-the-box sound, obviously. There's a world of post-processing you could do with all of these mics. I do love that both of these microphones require very little gain compared to others. They're condensers, so obviously they take phantom power and don't need much gain compared to dynamic mics. But I was still surprised. I only needed like 12 dB-ish for the U87, which is pretty low, and maybe 16 for the TLM-103 here. And that's with keeping pretty hot levels coming in as well. Like most people would probably run it lower in actual studio environments. The TLM-103 is probably the best choice for someone wanting that perfect voiceover mic. They're based on the same capsule anyway, but it's significantly cheaper than the U87 Ai and has lower self-noise. But the U87 has more options with 3 different polar patterns, which a lot of just voiceover use wouldn't use, a minus 10 dB pad, and a bass roll-off switch, though I never find those switches useful, and I feel they utterly destroy my vocal quality, even on the higher end, compared to rolling it off in post. 3 rings for the Oven Kings under the sky, 7 for the Dwarf Lords in their halls of stone. 3 rings for the Oven Kings under the sky, 7 for the Dwarf Lords in their halls of stone. Neumann microphones are what you buy when you have the budget to build an S-tier voiceover booth or a music studio, and you want something that's going to outlive your business effectively, where you never have to doubt the quality or question the reliability. As boring as I may find these microphones to be, down to the beigeish silver color scheme they have going on, they absolutely deliver on that quality and reliability front. I'm personally at the point where audio and visual perfection is just not too interesting to me. I prefer vintage lenses and filters and shooting with analog video gear, and I like running my microphones through analog processing gear. I like adding that flavor. There's beauty in the imperfections, and perfection often lacks any sort of specific character. But for many jobs and for studios with different talent using the gear at different points in time, that transparency is a necessity. I am super grateful that I got to try out these microphones, even if just for a couple weeks, and add the comparisons to my catalog. But I'm also glad I didn't spring to spend money on them myself. I'm lucky to have friends who can loan me their gear. 3 rings for the Oven Kings under the sky, 7 for the Dwarf Lords in their halls of stone, 9 for the mortal men doomed to die, 1 for the Dark Lord on his dark throne in the land of Mordor, where the shadows lie. 3 rings for the Oven Kings under the sky, 7 for the Dwarf Lords in their halls of stone, 9 for the mortal men doomed to die, 1 for the Dark Lord on his dark throne in the land of Mordor, where the shadows lie. 3 rings for the Oven Kings under the sky, 7 for the Dwarf Lords in their halls of stone, 9 for the mortal men doomed to die, 1 for the Dark Lord on his dark throne in the land of Mordor, where the shadows lie. 3 rings for the Oven Kings under the sky, 7 for the Dwarf Lords in their halls of stone, 9 for the mortal men doomed to die, 1 for the Dark Lord on his dark throne in the land of Mordor, where the shadows lie. 3 rings for the Oven Kings under the sky, 7 for the Dwarf Lords in their halls of stone, 9 for the mortal men doomed to die, 1 for the Dark Lord on his dark throne in the land of Mordor, where the shadows lie. 3 rings for the Oven Kings under the sky, 7 for the Dwarf Lords in their halls of stone, 9 for the mortal men doomed to die, 1 for the Dark Lord on his dark throne in the land of Mordor, where the shadows lie. 3 rings for the Oven Kings under the sky, 7 for the Dwarf Lords in their halls of stone, 9 for the mortal men doomed to die, 1 for the Dark Lord on his dark throne in the land of Mordor, where the shadows lie. 3 rings for the Oven Kings under the sky, 7 for the Dwarf Lords in their halls of stone, 9 for the mortal men doomed to die, 1 for the Dark Lord on his dark throne in the land of Mordor, where the shadows lie. 3 rings for the Oven Kings under the sky, 7 for the Dwarf Lords in their halls of stone, 9 for the mortal men doomed to die, 1 for the Dark Lord on his dark throne in the land of Mordor, where the shadows lie. This is a talking while typing test on box royale switches, talking while typing and clicking and rustling some papers. Yeah. This is a talking while typing test on box royale switches, talking while clicking and typing, talking while rustling some papers. Yeah. Talking while typing on box royale switches, talking while typing and clicking, tippity toopity tap tap tap. This is a talking while typing test on box royale switches, talking while typing and clicking and tippity soopity stop. Talking while typing on box royale switches, clicking, talking while clicking and typing, boobity bop, shoobity bop bop bop. Talking while typing on box royale switches, talking while typing and clicking, and you know the drill by now, tippity tap. Talking while typing on box royale switches, talking while typing and talking while clicking.
Every frequency, every nuance, captured with surgical precision. Perfection. An elusive mirage on the horizon of human endeavor. The relentless pursuit, the obsession. It drives us, but at what cost? In our modern age, the quest for the flawless often overshadows the beauty of the flawed, the unique, the human. But there's a truth, often overlooked. Perfection can be boring. It's the imperfections, the quirks, that make us who we are. So while the world chases the unattainable, perhaps we should celebrate the imperfect, the real.
If you enjoyed this, you have to watch this video on why I love these sick tube microphones as well, and remember to be kind. Rewind.